What if I told you that long before Harry Potter, there was a real-life philosopher who went on a dangerous quest for truth? He wore a special cloak. He searched ancient libraries. He confronted false magic. He found the key that unlocked every door. And in the end, he gave his life rather than betray what he knew was true. Today we're traveling back to the 2nd century to meet Justin Martyr, a man whose story feels strangely familiar if you've ever read Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Welcome back to Letters of Paul to the Philippines. About 100 years after the birth of Jesus, a boy was born in Shechem, in Samaria, a town later renamed Flavia Neapolis, today's Nablus. His name was Justin. He wasn't Jewish. He wasn't Samaritan. He came from a pagan family. But even as a young man, Justin was hungry for something deeper. The word philosophy literally means love of wisdom. And Justin loved wisdom the way Harry Potter longed to understand the strange world he'd been thrown into. In Justin's time, priests did not wear special clothes, but philosophers did. Their cloak was their badge of identity. It said, "I am searching for truth, and I want you to ask me why." And so Justin put on the philosopher's cloak and began his journey. Justin traveled to the intellectual centers of the ancient world: Alexandria, Ephesus, the great schools of the Stoics, the mysticism of Pythagoras, and finally, the brilliance of Plato. Each system promised wisdom. Each one claimed to hold the key. But like the false philosopher's stone guarded by traps beneath Hogwarts, none of them could give Justin what he truly sought. They had pieces of truth, but not the whole thing. Then one day, walking along the seashore, wrestling with Plato's hardest ideas, Justin met an old man. Not a wizard, not a magician, but someone far more dangerous. The old man asked Justin a simple question. "Have you ever read the prophets of the Jewish people?" Justin hadn't. The old man told him of a mysterious figure, someone foretold by prophets, someone who would be the key to all knowledge. And then came the shock. That figure has already come. His name is Jesus of Nazareth. Justin was stunned. Jesus had lived near Justin's hometown. This wasn't myth. This wasn't philosophy. This was history. Justin rushed to read the Hebrew scriptures and saw the prophecies converge on Jesus like pieces of a puzzle finally locking into place. And then he saw something even more powerful: Christians choosing death rather than denying their faith. That was the moment. Justin was baptized at around 30 years old. But here's the twist. He did not take off the philosopher's cloak. Instead, he said, "Only now do I truly deserve to wear it." Because Christ wasn't the end of reason. He was the fulfillment of it. If Harry Potter's Philosopher's Stone promised eternal life but delivered only temptation, Christ offered something far greater: truth, transformation, and resurrection. Justin had found the true Logos, the Word through whom all things were made, and this became his rock. Justin went to Ephesus, home of Paul and John, then to Rome, the heart of the empire. There he taught publicly, even though being Christian was punishable by death. He wrote 2 apologies, not excuses, but defenses of the faith, to the emperor himself. Christians were accused of atheism, incest, cannibalism. Justin did something bold. He said essentially, look in the mirror. He exposed pagan sexual chaos, abandonment of children, prostitution, and moral relativism. And then he described Christian life, fidelity in marriage, lifelong chastity, sharing wealth, loving enemies. Christianity wasn't just a belief system, it was a new way of living. Justin didn't reject all pagan philosophy. Instead, he said they saw fragments because the Logos had planted seeds everywhere. Truth found in Plato, the Stoics, and poets wasn't accidental. Just as magic in Harry Potter can be used rightly or wrongly, truth without Christ becomes distorted. The cross became Justin's measuring stick. Faith and reason were never enemies. They came from the same source. Justin pulled back the veil on Christian worship. Baptism by water and spirit, fasting before Easter, Sunday Eucharist, real communion with Christ's flesh and blood. And then came his final test. Brought back from Rusticus, ordered to sacrifice to the gods, Justin replied, nobody in his senses gives up truth for falsehood. He was scourged and beheaded. The philosopher's cloak, washed white in baptism, was dyed red with martyr's blood. Justin Martyr teaches us this. The real philosopher's stone isn't power, youth, or immortality. It's truth worth dying for. And in Justin's case, the combination of his reason and faith was more than a stone, but a rock. He had a true cloak of wisdom, not worn for attention, but for witness. If the story challenged you, inspired you, or made you see faith differently, like, share, and subscribe to Letters of Paul to the Philippines. Until next time, keep searching for the truth who searches for you.